What struck you the most?
I think that what struck me the most was the fact that this was a very violent debate. If you cast your mind back and you look at the previous debates in US history, going right back to 1960 and the debate between Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy, we've never seen a debate as violent, as rude, and as badly organised as this one, where, to be quite frank with you, you come out of this thinking, well, did I learn anything? Or was it just a scrum between two men fighting and not listening to each other? I don't think you can really call this a debate, Jeannie. It was more like each man sticking to their position, trying to put forward their ideas. And Donald Trump does not like being challenged. He does not like having to account for his actions. And when he is called to account, what does he do when he doesn't want to answer? He goes for a personal attack. And we saw that time and time again all the way through this debate, as we were hearing about Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son. Joe Biden was even talking about his other son, Beau Biden, who died of cancer in 2015, when Donald Trump intervened and said, I'm not talking about Beau, I'm talking about Hunter. Trying to destabilise Joe Biden, make him look old and doddery and not capable of taking on the job of president. He didn't manage to do that. What happened here was that it was a bit like Joe Biden riding a bucking bronco and getting to the end of the 90 minutes and not having fallen off because he was opposite a candidate who is not like any other candidate. It's Donald Trump, and Donald Trump was being Donald Trump all the way through this debate.
It did seem, though, like Joe Biden was trying to speak directly to the electorate, often looking right at the camera, referring to you at home. Tell us about that.
Well, there were three debates going on here, or three conversations. The first one was between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. The second one was between Donald Trump and Chris Wallace, who was the moderator, who was having a hard time trying to get Donald Trump to abide by the rules that Donald Trump had agreed to abide to. And the third conversation, you're right, was between Joe Biden and the American people. And Joe Biden was the only one of the two who actually looked at the camera and talked directly to the American people. That was points for him. And he said some quite poignant things. I think one of the most poignant ones was when he said, when they were talking about coronavirus, saying, how many of you out there have an empty chair when you come down in the morning? That chair should be being sat in by someone who's died as a result of the 200,000 dead in the United States, and that he was blaming on Donald Trump. So there were moments where Biden, who the Democrats worried were going to lose the arguments, be unsure about what he was talking about, or lose his temper, didn't do that and got to the end of this debate in one piece.
The main point of debates are often to help undecided voters decide who they're going to vote for. First of all, how many undecided voters are out there? And second of all, did anything out of this debate change their minds?
Okay. Well, the estimate is between 6 to 10% of Americans don't know how they're going to vote. So the big question is, did this debate change anything as far as their concern? Now, the first opinion polls that have come out, there are a couple here. The first one is from CBS, which said 48% thought Biden had won, 41% thought that Trump had won, and 10% thought it was a tie. And then another opinion poll for CNN said 60% that Biden had won the debate and only 28% that Trump had won the debate. But you have to remember, back in 2016, Donald Trump lost those debates and he was elected president of the United States. So that is not an indication about how things are going to turn out on Election Day on the 3rd of November. What we have here is a first debate. There are two others still to come. If today's debate is anything to go by, the next two are going to be as aggressive, if not worse, than what we've seen already. So I think a lot of people came out of this thinking, well, we don't really know what they're asking for, what they're proposing if they're elected. If Donald Trump is re-elected, what are we going to have? And if Joe Biden is elected, what is he proposing for the American people? There was a lot of mudslinging and insults, but at the end of the day, we're not any clearer, I don't think, Jeannie, about what exactly both candidate is going to propose if they're elected to be the next president of the United States.
So just very briefly, not a lot of policy last night.
No, not a lot of policy. Some quite shocking attacks, particularly on Donald Trump's refusal to dismiss white supremacist movements and also to criticise the counting and voting system, which is totally unfounded. And Joe Biden not going quite far enough. Joe Biden lacking in charisma and lacking in dynamism. I think he could have been more aggressive towards Donald Trump. He got through it, but he didn't really shine.